Back at it again. It's the guy Spencer. You know what time it is. It is time for the preseason 2021 top 40 East Texas players, numbers 20 through 16 on this podcast. Once again, this is just for fun. This is some guys that made plays last year, that played varsity football last year, and just kind of an idea of who we think will be the first people to look at for the top 100 of 2021 after the season. So kind of know how this goes. You know what this is all about. So at number 20, with no further ado, a wide receiver / tight end from Mount Pleasant, a guy that we missed on the list last year, Miller McCrumby. And when the first thing you know is about Miller McCrumby is the size. He is a big kid. He looks to be 6'3", 6'4", a lot of great length, pause in case, goes up and can extend and catch the football. You saw in the first highlight, he goes up in full body extension and makes a catch that shorter guys can't make. Uses all of his limbs and makes a great play. Here he is on the fade ball against Jacksonville. Baby's the defender. He's not turning around trying to pay attention to the ball. Go up and catch you one. Here he is against Pine Tree. Great route inside. Breaks a couple of tackles and walks that way for the rest of the way. You can see why he's not necessarily I don't know how many stars the guy's got. He's a top player, but the speed is going to be the thing that we hope to see that he improves on to his senior year. That's probably the only thing missing from his total package is him having great speed. Here he is throwing a great block, running a defender all the way down to the ground. So he's got some toughness, some nastiness. Here he is against Marshall. Ball's a little bit underthrown, but he's going to work his way back to it. Good jump ball catch, secures the catch, a first down. So he's a guy that made plays as a junior. Didn't make the list in 2021, but he's a guy that we think will be a big-time playmaker for Mount Pleasant as a senior, and a guy that will make the list. So at number 20, Miller McCrumby. At number 19, a junior receiver from Gilmer, Texas, a guy that did it on the offensive side of the ball, a guy that did it on the defensive side of the ball, and as you see from this first highlight, a guy that can do it in the kick game as well. The junior receiver, Rohan Fluellen, comes in at number 19, and I expect Fluellen to fully make big strides forward as a junior. Main reason why is the biggest receiver and the best receiver from last year's team on Gilmer's team, Dylan Fluellen, is now gone. And so now Rohan is the number one target coming back. And we're talking about Dylan, I think, had 60 catches for 1,400 yards and 20 touchdowns. Those catches and receiving yards are gone. Gilmer always has somebody to play receiver out there. That's just what they do. But you got to believe that some of those attempts will now be going to Rohan Fluellen, and if he continues to play defense, continues to play special teams the way he does, Fluellen could be a top 10 player coming into this next season. He's a guy that finished, I think, in the 60s last year. Sophomore, great sophomore effort, all-state effort. He's a guy that's going to be huge for Gilmer in that offense and that passing game, coming back with Brandon Tennyson. And I think he's just a player. I think he's a star, and I think he's going to really show it not only this year, but as a senior as well. So coming in at number 19 on the preseason list, Rohan Fluellen. At number 18, a sophomore linebacker. He got a chance to play as a freshman on varsity, and it is Braxton Jones, the little brother to Brandon Jones, the Miami Dolphins safety. Braxton Jones is not little. He's about 6'3", 240 pounds. He played Mike linebacker as a freshman, and you can tell the way he moves, he's not necessarily the most fluid guy as a freshman. He was a guy that could only go one way. But the great thing about that one way that he could go, when he touched you, the ball would explode from you, as you see that forced fumble right there. Braxton Jones is an instinctive player. He's a guy that plays downhill, and he is a load. Not only as a load as a blitzer and a run stopper, but he's also a running back for Nacogdoches as well. If he continues that, he's going to be a guy that impacts the total game. And the older he gets, the more mature he's going to play, the better in shape he'll be, and the more of a problem he'll be for all of East Texas. So coming in at just a sophomore, number 18, Braxton Jones. At number 17, a junior receiver from Carthage. He made a huge catch in the state championship game. His name is Montreal Haden. And Montreal Haden Jr. is a guy I'm extremely excited about. He had 35 catches for 702 yards and 8 touchdowns. But he is a playmaker. The only thing missing from his game to complete him off as a receiver is that top-end speed, something that can happen over the next 2 years. And if he takes some steps and improves in that, he'll have even more big plays for Carthage coming back. and he'll be a guy that they'll have to lean on. They're replacing a lot on offense. They're replacing their starting quarterback, Kyle Horton. They're replacing their starting running back, Mason Courtney. But what they do have bringing back is their best deep threat, their best receiver from last year's team, and Montreal Haden. And he's just going to improve the older, the more mature, the more physically mature that he gets. And he is a guy. Don't get it twisted. He is a guy. He's a guy that's going to finish as a 4-star, not necessarily a 5-star receiver, but a 4-star receiver. And he's a guy that works. If he gets his speed down, he's unstoppable. He has a great ball skills. He can go up and get it. Great hand-eye coordination. You can tell he catches with his hands, which is impressive. He is a natural receiver. So I'm expecting big things out of this kid. Coming in at number 18, the junior receiver from Carthage, Montreal Haden Jr. Coming in at number 16 on the list, a senior linebacker from Longview, Devin Isaac. And Devin Isaac is it's going to have a chance to play Division I football. He has an offer from Texas Southern, and depending on how his senior season goes, he's going to continue to add on to that offer list. What you notice about Isaac right away is that he is explosive and he is a big hitter. He's a guy that can find the football, surf through the offensive line, and get to the quarterback, running back, and bring them down. He's a savvy player. He can play blocks. He's physical on the football. He tries to do everything he can to try to separate the football from a person whenever he hits him. He is a player. He enjoys the game of football. You can tell he enjoys being out there on the field. Look at this 4th down stop against Denton Ryan in the playoff game. Comes up huge, cuts that guy down at the line of scrimmage. A good stop for us. Even when he's going through the offensive lineman getting the hill, you can see him just drive through the offensive lineman and make a play. He is going to have to be the guy on defense for us this year in order for us to be good. And he was a really good linebacker last year. I think he was our best linebacker last year. And if he can just improve on what he did last year and just be a solid leader, then there's no telling how great this defense could be from Longview. So coming in at number 16, the senior linebacker, Devin
Bitch,
Isaac.
I got my own fight, don't need security in the club. All they wolfing on the neck, nigga, I thought you was a dub. I ain't got nowhere to go, I shot up everywhere they would. Yeah, you know who took that shit from you, come get it back in blood. Bitch, come get it back in blood. We ain't mask up, no Dodger X, niggas know who it was. This story shit just like the 80s, want some back, get it in blood. Yeah, you know who took that shit from you, come get it back in blood.